Welcome back to another episode of the Lake Protectors Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Canay, and today we have with us Ben Marshall from the Lake George Park Commission. Welcome, Ben. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you do at the Park Commission. But first, let's jump right in and just talk about your background. Like, how did you land at the Park Commission?
Yeah, so I landed at the Park Commission. I went to Paul Smith's College. I got a 4-year degree in ecological restoration. And before I did that, I did the boat inspection programs for Lake George Park Commission, which got me exposure to aquatic invasives. And then from there, while I was at school, I ended up working with AWI as well.
Yep.
And then through that, I just got a love for aquatic plants, and then that translated into terrestrial plants. And then from there, that's when I started my job down in Albany, working for a big company called Resource Environmental Solutions.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest environmental firms in the country. So it was fun working down there.
What did you do there?
So I did ecological restoration.
Okay.
So we did like anywhere from large scale tree plantings to soil remediations to, I mean, you name it. I did HWA work a lot, running through the state parks, treating all the hemlocks. So just kind of organically happened from there.
And you've been there for just under
a year. Yeah.
When's your year anniversary?
Oh, it's coming up in a month from now.
Congratulations. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to the Park Commission, you've had like one full year cycle. What do you do at the Park Commission?
So I am their trades generalist right now. It's pretty much anything from hauling milfoil trailers to helping with the boat inspection program to doing septic inspections.
Okay.
So I do a little bit of everything. And
good
it's
way
great
to learn
exposure.
The whole organization.
It's good to start. I think that position's great because you're here, but it exposes you to everything.
Across
so then
the
you can kind of figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
all right,
I really appreciate it.
Yes, let's talk boat inspection program. So that was started here in Lake George. When was that started?
I believe that was started in 2014.
Okay.
And it was started because the discovery of the Asian clams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was spiny water flea as well.
Yeah, spiny water flea was the last one discovered.
Yeah, and so that really kicked in the boat inspection program.
How many locations does the Park Commission have around the lake now?
So we have 5 right now. They're strategically spread throughout the lake at all the public launches, or the DC launches, and some bigger launches like $1 Million Beach. And yeah.
Is $1 Million Beach the most frequented?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my sister works there, and she will say, like, we had 200 and something boats to date.
It's insane to see the statistics of, like, how many launch from $1 Million Beach compared to the others. Like, the line is, like...
Then on a rainy day, she'll be like, there were 8.
Yeah, right? You better bring a book on a rainy day.
Yeah. So what are the dates of the boat inspection program in Lake George?
So the dates for the boat inspection program... with the 5 locations, April 15th to December 1st, and then mandatory inspection season is May 1st to October 31st.
What's the shoulder season?
So the main season is May 1st to October 31st. That's like the enforced, like, you need to get your boat inspected.
Yeah.
And then in the shoulder season, it's kind of not a mandatory program, but it's voluntary. You still go through the inspection, but people can say no. Whereas in that main season, it's like, okay, if you're not going to get your boat inspected, you can't launch.
Right.
So it's more enforced.
What is the most common species that comes off these boats?
From what I've seen in the data that I've gone through, your Asian water milfoil.
Yeah. Which is in the lake, it's present, but of course we don't want to
we don't want it to be spraying
add to it.
We don't want to add to the problem.
Milfoil is the worst because it reproduces by fragmentation, so like a tiny little bit, and that's why it is so substantial throughout the lake, and will never be eradicated, but certainly managed. So when you guys are launching these boats, or people have to come through, you're collecting data. What data is collected throughout the process?
It's the registration numbers of
the boat.
What water body they were in last.
Okay.
To to the boater's best knowledge.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just bought a new boat and they don't know where it was or whatever.
Right.
But so pretty much they'll go through, they have a tablet and they'll fill out the data points that they need to mark on. And then if there's an invasive species found, I suggest that they do unknown species just so that when they get the sample, I can then ID it and take it from there. And then I go into WISPA and I'll select the right species. But yeah, it's all good stuff.
So if someone's coming into the boat inspection, they don't know where the boat was, is that an automatic, we're washing the boat?
It depends. From my personal situation of being a boat inspection steward, I always erred on the side of caution. I would, at that point, if they were to tell me, hey, I don't know where this boat's been, I usually check everything, even the bilge. And most of the time in those situations, I found water in the bilge or something like that made me want to decon the boat.
And the process is pretty short. I mean, the boat inspection program, it's free for everyone. Like they're coming through, they aren't having to pay for it. And how long do you think the process is for people?
So if it's quick and easy and the boat owner knows about like clean, drain, dried, and they take their own precautions or best precautions they can, they're in and out within a minute. Okay. If they have a tag on the boat that shows that they've been inspected before, they just clip it. Boat stewards will record it, and then they're on their way.
For people who are, maybe frequent flyers at Lake George, like the boat doesn't go to other water bodies, they would be tagged, right? Like tag, you come back, you go right through the next time.
Yep. And then if people show up without tags, that's usually when we ask more questions and look into it a little more. So.
Okay.
And even we'll get so there's other sister programs in the area.
Yeah.
I tell people, listen, use your best discretion. If the boat looks clean, still look it over, even if there's 80K seal on it. Or I know there's some lake associations down south that have different color seals too. So I'd tell people to keep an eye out for that. And if they see it, still look over the boat.
Right. Okay, so we've got $1 Million Beach. There's one at Norwal. Where are the other?
$1 Million Beach, Norwal, Rogers Rock, Mossy Point, and then we have one in South Bay.
Okay.
Yep.
The one at Rogers Rock, that's right in the campground.
Yep. Right by the launch.
But anybody can use it.
Yep, that's a public launch.
Okay, and they don't have to pay like day use fee, anything.
Nope.
They just go right through.
Nope.
That's nice. So anywhere throughout the lake, it's abundantly easy for you.
Yep.
You don't have to travel very far.
Exactly.
I guess if you're on the east side.
If you're on the east side, it makes it a little tougher. It makes it a little tougher, right? But usually those are like, you have Hewlett's Landing. That's just their own community. They have their marina there, and so
there was a time the LGA was identifying plants for the program, but of course they hired you, and you're probably much better at plant identification than we were.
I still learn every day.
Yeah, of course, like you have to.
Yeah,
but we would see hydrilla. Hydrilla would come through a lot as a like coming off of boats.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't see that as much this year. What I really saw this year that stood out to me was quagga mussels.
Okay.
And like
not in Lake George.
Not in Lake George. No. All the samples that I saw were from Champlain.
Okay. How many boats were inspected in total last year in Lake George?
So inspected.
Or I guess went through.
Yeah. So I have 35,505 boats.
And
that's entrance.
Repeats.
Yeah, that's entrance and exits. So that's just like what I get from the tablets. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And how many were cleaned? So how many showed up with a dirty boat?
So with the dirty boats, so I know statistically we had 89 boats come in with invasive species.
Okay.
That I had to ID from the samples that we got.
That's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Odds-wise?
The number has gone down.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
I think education is a huge part of it. Like people know, they know what they have to do. There's less pushback. I mean, I hear through, the grapevine that there is some pushback with some people some days.
But there is, but
they'd push back with anything.
I was going to say with any program, anywhere, someone's going to have issues
they're the litter
with something.
But. So 89 out of
that's what I ID'd. And some of those sample bags that I had had more than one invasive species in them.
Do you think the lake's going to freeze this year?
I hope so.
We'll know if you're right when this comes out.
Yeah, I want to go skate on it. I honestly haven't been on Lake George with ice since I was like 10 years old. So
yeah, I don't know. I think there's still a lot of open water up towards Hague, but the southern end's got a nice little skim, but the wind could kind of...
Yeah, I'm going to go get my skates after this.
Well, be careful. I think it's just a...
yeah, it's like 2 inches. I'll stay where the sand is.
Yeah.
I'll stay where the sand is.
Maybe just like pretend you're skating in the sand. In general, other equipment, like is there a way someone could come to a boat inspection station and say, I have this kayak, I have this canoe, it was in another body of water? Like obviously maybe not on a busy July day where there's 200 boats coming through, but could they ask to have their other, non-motorized boat cleaned?
You just treat all boats the same.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I try to tell stewards now with the Lake George program. So
yeah, there's only so much, you do the best you can, but there's only so much you can do. There hasn't been a new invasive species on Lake George in now 13 years. But let's talk about private boat launches because there are a few around the lake, right?
Yeah. So those people are only really allowed to accept tagged boats.
Okay.
So it has to be a Lake George sealed boat. They can't do inspections if a boat shows up without a tag. Listen, you got to go to an inspection station, get a tag.
Okay.
Yep. So I think that might be one of the leading causes to new invasives into the lake.
Who funds the boat inspection program?
So boat inspection program, it's funded by local municipality and the LGA.
Yeah.
And then going forward, I hope that the funding continues because this program is so important to the lake, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion.
The Adirondacks.
Yeah.
The program all throughout the watershed.
Just seeing all these different lake associations, it really speaks to the volume of clean, drain, dry,
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned clean, drain, dry. We've said it a few times. What does it mean?
So clean, drain, dried, it's pretty much show up with a clean boat.
Okay.
Make sure it's drained, like no waters on
in the
boat.
motor, in the bilge.
Yeah, just make sure it's all bone dry.
Okay.
And dry. So and clean, drain, dry.
So for people at home that first of all, what can people do in preparation? The clean, drain, dry, but how do they go about it? Is there a certain temperature that they need to be cleaning the boat at? Is there cleaning agents they should be using, or is water enough?
So kind of what I suggest is if I were a boat owner,
I
don't have a boat,
but
okay. If I was a boat owner, if I were to do this, the best way would be pull your boat out of the water, drop your inboard or inboard outboard to let the intakes drain, so that's going to be dry by the time you put it back in. X amount of days after or whatever. But so you do that, and then I'd have them pull the bilge plug so that when they're traveling, the car moving or the truck moving will kind of empty the bilge. And then honestly, I suggest, leave your boat cover off for a day if it's a sunny day.
Yeah, the sun will bake anything.
And do visual inspections as well. Say you let it sit in your yard for a week or however long, right? Well, before you bring it back, maybe open your engine compartment, make sure your bilge is dry.
Yeah.
Do a quick walk around, make sure there's no plant debris hanging on your boat, or even, there's instances where I'll have people come with samples and they'll be like, I don't know what the heck this is. And then I'll ID and I'll be like, dude, this is a mushroom. There's a mushroom growing on your bunk. This isn't an invasive.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, because they have, the bunks are usually made out of wood.
Okay.
So, but it's just funny to see that shows me that our inspectors are doing their job because they find these little things growing up. You know what I mean? But I just think it would be the best practice for people to just take a walk around their boat.
Yeah. Some are very visual, but the spiny water flea, you would never know. Even
and I don't know what the time frame is for that being out of the water and dying, but
I don't know. I had always heard that the spiny water flea was introduced, the thought was through fishing equipment.
Yes.
In Lake George, at least. And that makes sense because it is so tiny, microscopic, that it could have been on someone's waders or I guess fishing line, maybe not, or some type of.
So that's a good point. Something I do mention at the beginning of inspection seasons. Well, this is my first year here, but really check fishing line. people don't think about that. But when I was over at the Luzerne launch with Adirondack Watershed Institute, I found this guy. He had downriggers. He wasn't going to use them in the river, but I saw dried up spiny water flea on this thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I can't remember.
In the Hudson, it would have gone in?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, they were dried up. I'm assuming they were probably dead.
Yeah.
Not too sure. But I just remember talking with him, and I can't remember where he came out of, really, or kind of what the background story was. But I do remember looking at the downrigger and seeing this, like, it all caked on.
The, little barbed.
Yep.
Yeah, because they kind of cluster.
So that was the first time I've ever even seen it, to be honest with you.
Oh, we found it on the floating classroom last summer, and we found it early. Typically, we would see it in August, but
isn't that kind of the patterns? There's certain patterns of it?
They disappeared. They were found in 2012 and were seen presently, I think, through 2016. And then there appeared to be some type of die-off. They rebounded in 2021. And then this past, or 2023, they were extremely prominent. They have to be. I haven't seen any of the data, but in 2024, they have to be, because we had never seen them on the floating classroom before. Like the plankton nets that the participants put down that are maybe 20, 30 feet, have them coming up. And that was in July. It's typically August. I think with a warming climate, invasive species, the ones that you're most concerned with creeping in, there's going to be more terrestrial, aquatic, whatnot.
Yeah.
So what else does the Park Commission do with invasives? You mentioned swimming around looking for.
Yeah, so that was when we did the monitoring for the suction harvesting of Eurasian water milfoil. So I was able to get out on the boat with Dave and kind of get shown all the different sites and kind of what level they're at right now and what our goals are going forward.
Yeah. So you monitor the sites after the suction harvesting has been done?
At least that's what my experience was.
Like a few weeks after?
Yeah. Just to kind of check up on their work, make sure that they're doing their job.
I've done the milfoil swims before. Those are fun days.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because you are just swimming around the lake.
Snorkeling around.
Yeah, looking for a milfoil. But then, of course, you get to these dense beds, and Dave's like, count them. You're like,
when we would do the
there
Asian
could be
clams,
100 there. There could be 500 there. Like some of them are really hard to tell because some beds are, of course, denser than others.
I would be like, there's this much there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and doing the Asian clam stuff too got me out on the boat.
Yeah, that's really what I did last year with you guys. That was fun. Most of the sandy areas have Asian clams at this point, but as you're driving around, it's like, okay, we're going to check this spot, but it could, you don't know, it could migrate over. The day we were out, we were like, okay, let's split up and kind of meet in the middle. It's this large bay, but you might find it here. Well, I think everywhere we went, we found them except that one really rocky spot.
Yeah. That was
because you couldn't get a step in. I think with terrestrial invasives, that's going to be harder to combat with climate change and as things move up. Aquatic, we've got the boat inspection station. It's doing what it needs to be doing, the heroes of the lake, because they're on the ground every day.
Yep.
Preventing aquatic invasives from entering the lake.
Yeah, I have to give praise to the boat inspection stewards.
Yes.
They really...
Let's give it up for them.
Really, though.
They're the ones.
Really
be nice to your boat inspectors.
Yes, please be nice to
Please be nice to them. They're doing the best they can.
And they do amazing work.
And they're protecting the water quality of this lake.
And everybody cares. Anybody that's... just from past experience, not everybody cares. No. But from what I've ran into here with my year here and talking to everybody at the inspection stations, everybody cares. So that's where I'm give it up for the boat inspection stewards, because they're the badass people that are making this program work perfectly. Right. So
what's your favorite part of the lake?
Oof. I really like Ticonderoga. Yeah. I've been kind of I'll look at property up there and I'm but I just came from a job where I drove an hour every day to work. So I don't know if I want to do that, but so I really like Hewlett's Landing too.
Yeah, Hewlett's
I just like the east side of the lake personally.
I like the east side. I like up north. A lot of people say Paradise Bay when we ask. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you so much, Ben Marshall, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me.
We appreciate it. And if you've got questions about the inspection station, they can, of course, reach out to you. We'll link it.
Yeah, definitely.
Inspection stations open up April 15th.
Yep. Mandatory
May 1st.
Yep.
And all through the rest of the year.
And then, keep your boats clean, drain, and dry.
Keep your boats
please.
clean, drain, dry. Be nice to your boat inspector.
Yep.
It's really...
And look out for invasives.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. We'll be back soon. Bye. The Lake Protectors Podcast is a production of the Lake George Association. To check out the work that the LGA is doing, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Lake George Association. You can also visit our website at lakegeorgeassociation.org. This episode was produced by Jacqueline Mignot. If you'd like to hear more, follow us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.